of all the big controversies, we're going to start with this one. Let's put this up there from Michigan. This is from the Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. Now, according to the Secretary of State of Michigan, there are, quote, issues with Dominion voter access terminals in counties that use them in the voter access terminal. Specifically, it appears with the terminals that are handicap assisting. Now, voters using this on Election Day will either have to vote straight ticket or manually split their ballot, unlike how Michigan voters usually have the option to select straight party option and then override their party selection for certain races. Benson said that this was an issue that has frustrated officials in places where these machines are used. Quote, I think all of us who use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period as early voting began, so we are working to seek accountability on that front and working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue. Again, this appears to be, what is it, in the assisted ballot casting part of the area from early voting, so it's not all, but of course, wanted to go ahead and flag it here. And it is one that has already been acknowledged by the Secretary of State, of course, and then also has been a nationwide thing. That said, I don't know, you can look at it either way. People sent it and were like, well, this is evidence that there's problems. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, if you're evidence of a quote unquote problem or cheating, why would then the Secretary of State come out and acknowledge it and say that we are working on it? So look, nobody's gonna sit here and claim that there's no issues or whatever, but it almost seems like the opposite, where they're coming out, acknowledging in the future, talking about this quote unquote fix and exactly which type of ballots it can affect. So regardless, you can just say, that's the explanation for what it is. And if it comes, in the future as subject to some lawsuit or whatever, this is the origin.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's also not clear which side this would theoretically benefit. The idea is just like it makes those particular machines make it more difficult to vote split ticket instead of just straight D or straight R. So again, it's not really even clear which side that would potentially benefit, but it just makes it more cumbersome for people who are voting at these disabled access terminals, which is unfortunate, but not cheating. It's just like more cumbersome for them. And I think it's smart that she announced this in advance to sort of pre-butt any potential like allegations after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, by the way, lecture for election people, just say it all out in the future and avoid the mess of next time. Let's go to the next part. Let's put this up there on the screen. This was another big one. You probably saw it everywhere. ABC News 16 WNEP, the affiliate, people were saying, look, they already called it for Kamala Harris. Well, the alleged response or the reason for why they had this, what was it, reporting for Harris and Trump that showed up in the middle of a Formula One race on ESPN, ABC affiliate, was that there was some graphics testing package that they were doing that appeared to have up on the screen. I also think we should just interrogate the thought process here. Like, is the thought process that the media is going to rig the election by pre-calling it for Harris, and they're going to work then with the Secretary of State and Pennsylvania to just put up fake numbers? And why would you then do a dry run ahead of time? Like, what is the logical explanation? This is where the low IQ nature of this stuff honestly just drives me crazy. What is more likely, a graphics thing or a concerted effort by WNEP to pre-call the election? Like, what world do you think we're living in here? All right. And look, I already know there's going to be some butthurt Republicans in the comments being like, oh, fake, whatever. But it's like, look, be real with yourself. If you believe that, honestly, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
If you really believe that that's a concerted effort to like steal the election by WNEP ABC affiliate who put up the wrong graphic. Yeah, because local news graphics teams are, of course, the most crack in the business. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Is this just me working here to know so obviously how many times do you watch the show and the wrong graphic goes up on the screen?
Right. Yeah. Yes, people who have put up wrong graphics plenty of times.
Sorry,
no offense,
they're in my ear
in the control room. No offense.
It's true.
It happens to the best of us. As someone who's been part of network like MSNBC election coverage, all of the networks, they preload fake election results in order to test out like how it looks state by state and make sure their stuff is running. In fact, we just did a test here, Mac and Griffin did a test of our election graphics literally yesterday, guys.
And it could have been mistakenly put on YouTube. It only took one clip.
Yeah, they uploaded
and it would have been uploaded.
They uploaded the clip, but for, I guess it's private or whatever only. But, very easy to accidentally click the wrong thing and it goes public. And then, oh my God, we're part of the election conspiracy. So just ask yourself, Occam's razor, which is more likely?
Yes, that's right.
At the same time, we have had a few wild incidents occurring at polling stations during the early vote. We can put this up on the screen. A machete-wielding young Trump supporter was arrested on a variety of charges for menacing people who were going to vote. I believe this occurred in Florida. So they held Neptune Beach Police Department held a media briefing following the arrest of a man in connection with an armed disturbance that occurred at the Beaches Branch Library, a polling location. You can see him there with the Trump signs and the machete, and I don't know what he thought he was doing, but it was pretty menacing, stupid, and illegal. So
and he was arrested.
Good work with that. And he was arrested.
He was arrested.
This one,
yeah, this is my personal
is
favorite.
really wild. Put this up on the screen. So this dude who ran for, I believe, Congress.
Yes.
This is Kansas City. So former GOP candidate. He stole ballots they describe a scheme to create controversy. So effectively, he got invited because he's sort of like a local, guy who's well known. He ran for Congress, et cetera, et cetera. So he got invited to this public test they were doing of their election systems. Part of the test was to demonstrate to the public, like, this is all clean and free and fair, and we've got an organized system, et cetera. So he goes to this test, and it was live streamed, the whole thing, so people could see everything that was happening, which is how he got caught. And he stole 2 ballots, folded them up, and put them in his pocket, and then starts whispering to someone like, oh, the count of the ballots is wrong. I think they're missing some ballots, blah, 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 after he was the one who stole the ballots. And since it was on the live stream, he got caught. And before he was caught and people went back through the live stream and saw this all happen, he went on a Facebook Live and was talking about how, oh, there's election fraud and they're short multiple ballots, blah, blah, blah. Again, because he's the one that stole the ballots. So this was an effort to, try to create a narrative about how the election's rigged and it's stolen and you can't trust the results, blah, blah, blah. And this guy got caught red-handed being the one doing the ballot manipulation and, stealing these ballots during the test. So amazing stuff.
2 more election updates. There was one that came out of Michigan. There was allegedly, there was some one voter ID where multiple voter IDs had been linked to duplicate ballots in Michigan. The Michigan Secretary of State has confirmed to the RNC that those duplicates will not be counted, and it was a glitch in the system. If anything, the infrastructure at this point for election integrity and all that is so gigantic on the Republican side. Hundreds of billions of dollars have now been spent on this with watchdogs, lawsuits, lawyers, and all these other people that they are watching and investigating almost every single thing. So we will continue to do so. And in almost every case, you've either been responsive or whatever, or it just turned out to be total bullshit. The other one that has come up now is the judge has extended mail balloting in Bucks County. There was a whole lawsuit about this. I just thought I would mention it, where they were trying to close early voting at I think it was a deadline of 5 p.m. on October 29. The judge there ruled that violated Pennsylvania election code and that they will then extend normal early voting for normal business hours before the close of business on November 1. So I guess you still have a day and a half or so to go and to take advantage of that. They are, in terms of the time frame, I think they also limited it from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But there you go. So look into that. If you live in Bucks County, PA, beautiful place, by the way, New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I think overall, one thing we noted last time is that the election apparatus really is a patchwork. You really are dependent on these individual local counties,
jurisdictions, literally,
to run this election. And so, of course, there are going to be anomalies. There are going to be glitches. Every election, there's, people are upset because they had to wait in line too long, or they feel like, every election, there are going to be some issues that crop up because it's human beings trying to do a thing en masse in jurisdictions across the entire country at a time of a lot of heightened anxiety, tension, et cetera. So just take all of that in, because there is something that is, goes awry or whatever, they don't have enough ballots, whatever happens, that is not evidence of a mass coordinated scheme. it's evidence that human beings are fallible and there will be some technical issues and glitches on election day. That is, I can tell you with 100% certainty that will be the case.
Right, and yeah, look, if it does look connected, if you can prove it, send me the evidence. I'd love to see it. Please, I beg you to send it to me. If we could, it's the story of the century. If you could prove it, send it. I'll take a look. And then just last thing on that, because everyone's always